The second day of the Nebraska Ag Expo at the Lancaster Event Center in Lincoln. This is the Sunrise Report. I'm Chad Moyer. That's Bryce Duskett. Bryce, are you ready for day two?
I'm here. I'm ready. Need a little more coffee, but we're ready to go. 8 o'clock. So doors are going to open just here in a half hour, and we're going to get underway with the second largest indoor ag show here in the U.S. And man, day number one, nice day to come out to the show. A lot of folks were kicking the tires and seeing what's new in agriculture.
It was encouraging to see him so early in the day, too. Shortly after we did the Sunrise Report yesterday, it wasn't very long, and most of the aisles were full here in Pavilion 1. So people were anxious and eager to get out to the Ag Expo this year.
What was full, Chad, was the line of people looking to get your autograph over there. You've got your table set up, and you're signing things for people, and people were lined up excited to see you. But people want to know where the facial hair went. That's what the biggest question yesterday was. You have an answer for the people?
Commodity prices are up. That's all that I can say. And that line that you were talking about, it would have lasted a whole lot longer had our correspondent Alex not started charging for my autograph. That's really what burns me, Alex. So thanks for that.
We'd like to thank our sponsors of this year's Nebraska Ag Expo Sunrise. They are the Nebraska Ag Expo as well as Prairie Manufacturing. We say thank you to them. And later in the program, we're actually going to be visiting with the folks from Prairie to see what's going on over at their booth. You can find them in Pavilion 4 this year. We mentioned doors will open here in a half hour, but we've got a jam-packed program this morning to get to bring you kind of behind the scenes and up to speed of what's been going on with the Nebraska Ag Expo. Chad, our first segment today, we're going to be hearing from some of the folks from the Iowa-Nebraska Equipment Dealers Association. They held a press conference yesterday, so we'll get to that here in a second. But one of the questions I want to pose to you was some of the folks walking around yesterday, I heard they're doing a little Christmas shopping for themselves. You walked around, I think, probably all the buildings. Did you see something that caught your eye, something you're going to put on your list?
Well, I tell you what, there was a really nice tractor over in Pavilion 4 that could certainly be on my list, but definitely more realistic items like a few tools for the shop or things like that. And I don't have that really big hammer, that last option when everything else has failed.
What are you working on? You need that last option hammer, Chad.
There's that one last thing that I need. That's on my gift giving. That's on my receiving list this year.
There's a lot of tools here, actually, right next to our booth where you can find the Rural Radio Network. You can see some of the tools that are on sale, some ratchet straps, all sorts of things. Good time to restock the shop as winter nears here. Winter weather is setting in, so good time to come on into the Nebraska Ag Expo at the Lancaster Event Center. I mentioned we were going to hear from some folks that were at a press conference yesterday, and we're going to do that segment now. Mark Hennessy is the CEO of the Iowa-Nebraska Equipment Dealers Association. The group came together this year, and of course, students, Chad, like to come out to see what's new in agriculture as well, but they wanted to put some more additional purpose behind that, and so they created a program where they can partner these students up with some of the folks as part of the association to show them what career opportunities are out there. So let's hear from Mark Hennessy now and some of his thoughts about the Career Exploration event.
In order for us to grow the opportunities, and specifically with the Nebraska equipment dealers, there are many opportunities for positions within these dealerships, and we face a real challenge on trying to find available resources, people that are interested, kids that want to take a career in this particular field. And so one of the things we started looking at was the majority of the population resides in Lincoln and in Omaha. Working with the University of Nebraska, we put together some ideas and some thoughts and really started to think about how can we get a city or an individual growing up in the urban community to think about having a career in agriculture. Because number one thing we found is they tend to think of, since I didn't grow up on a farm, I'm not first-hand involved in the production, that I really don't have a career. Well, nothing is farther from the truth. For example, I was born in Lincoln, raised in Lincoln, and I'm here in front of you involved in agriculture. So I'm a city kid who's had an opportunity to grow his career within the agricultural lineup. And so there's so many opportunities for our youth, whether it's drone, robotics, self-automation. There's a host of things that they can get involved in. And it's important for us, and we're using this show as a springboard for that. With 800 different exhibitors themselves showing technology, our job right now this week is we're bringing hundreds of kids in, escorting them around in groups with some of our dealers, showing them this technology, and then culminating that with me where I give them some ideas as to what a career could look like in this world. And so it's exciting to be able to open some eyes and open some awareness with these kids and their parents to see that there is some real high potential for them to have a great livelihood here in Nebraska.
Mark has this unique story, Chad, of being a kid that was born in Nebraska, Lincoln, Nebraska, wasn't raised on the farm or ranch, but ended up, of course, being the CEO of the association that runs the Nebraska and Iowa farm shows here, the Ag Expos. Unique story, and it's nice to see that they're coming together and putting some thoughts behind what to do about finding some students that might be interested in finding a career in agriculture. Let's face it, here in Nebraska, unemployment less than 2%.
That's right. It's lowest recorded by any state in the nation ever at 1.9%. And I know Governor Pete Ricketts is pretty proud about that fact. And it is a good statistic, right? That means things are happening here in Nebraska. But like we've highlighted, it also has its challenges, right? Where is the next group of employees going to come from? And Governor Ricketts was on hand yesterday, right, to kind of expand on that.
Yeah, he was on hand, and we're going to hear from him here in a second to get some of his thoughts about that unemployment rate, as well as what the state of Nebraska is doing and how that all fits in with the Nebraska Ag Expo.
Well, I think it's great here, especially I love what the Iowa Nebraska Equipment Dealers Association is doing with this Ag Expo, is taking it as an opportunity to expose young people to the careers that we have available in agriculture. As I was talking before, we've got so many more job openings than we have young people graduating those career fields from our institutions of higher education to be able to fill them. And so if you're a young person, you're thinking about this, of course, this is what we do in Nebraska. We're an agricultural state. It's a great opportunity to come here and see the 2,300 exhibits and get a feel for what sort of career opportunities are around here. So I really applaud what the Iowa Nebraska Equipment Dealers Association is doing to help make sure that we're keeping our young people here in the state.
That is Nebraska Governor Pete Ricketts out here at the Nebraska Ag Expo to help kick things off yesterday. Nice to hear from him, as well as Mark Hennessy talking about the career exploration event. And Chad and there are lots of things going on. Day one is in the books, but day two has a lot in store. I know you were looking at some of the seminars we've got coming up today. Al Dutcher is going to be making an appearance, right?
Yeah, that's right. Al Dutcher is going to have a seminar today at the Nebraska Ag Expo. Very popular. Everybody wants to hear what Al has to say. He just came out with his winter summary, his prediction, the outlook for December, January, and February. So we're anxious to hear what he has to say about that. And of course, some of the other things that we highlighted yesterday too, about, carbon markets, cover crops transitioning to the farm to the next generation. Those are all topics that are on today's seminar list as well.
So those are the seminars, and of course, all the booths will be here, all 2,000 of them, and the experts will be on hand to answer some of your questions. New this year is the Ag Innovation Showcase. We talked about that yesterday, presented by Farm Credit Services of America. Their booth is behind us, but in the same pavilion where we're located, you can see 5 startup companies. Alex actually had the opportunity to catch up with one of them. It's a Nebraska-based company, Grain Weevil. Let's toss it over to Alex.
Here at the Nebraska Ag Expo, new technology is something that always brings attention to the folks attending. And this time we are visiting with Grain Weevil here at the Farm Credit Services of America Ag Innovation Showcase. Ben joins us now. First of all, Ben, tell us a little bit more about Grain Weevil. What is it that you guys do?
Grain Weevil is a grain bin safety and management robot that we have designed to keep farmers out of the grain bins and replace all the work that they're doing with a shovel or a rake or a pole inside of the bin.
And this is something that you guys had the opportunity to bring out to the Farm Credit Services booth. Tell me more about what folks are seeing.
Yeah, this is the first time we've really shown it to this big of a crowd, and we're getting some really good feedback, some really good reactions. We've been driving it. We had some kids driving it earlier, and it's been a lot of fun, and getting some really good connections, people to test with, people to go and see how they're doing their operation and see how we can fit in with that.
The Grain Weevil can bring a lot of benefit, I think, to producers. Tell me about those benefits.
Well, the main benefit that makes us so passionate about what we do is keeping them safe. You can't really put a price on keeping our farmers safe, and that's the main thing we're trying to do. But then on top of that, we really want to show the impact we can have on the management side of our farmers' grain bins, making that process easier for them, taking away some of that stress with having grain go bad inside the bin or any other problems that they have, and we can help them along in that process with our robot.
And Ben, you were explaining that you guys just keep innovating and keep finding more ways to make this product better. Tell me more about some of the testing you guys have done.
Yeah, last week we went to Tennessee and tested on rice for the first time, and the robot performed great. And there's other interesting opportunities for us in different materials like beans and pistachios and hazelnuts and different bins full of stuff that we can drive on and help their processes.
All right, that again is Ben joining us with Grain Weevil for this Ag Innovation Showcase brought to you by Farm Credit Services of America at the 2021 Nebraska Ag Expo.
Robotics and agriculture. Certainly a lot of things going on here at the Nebraska Ag Expo. And Chad, Grain Weevil is not the only company here. There's 5 startups being featured there as part of the Ag Innovation Showcase. You caught up with Birdseye, another Nebraska company, right?
Yeah, they're out of eastern Nebraska, again, utilizing technology to fill a gap in the operation. And it's interesting listening to the developers of Birdseye. What they do, it's a robot that goes around chicken barns to not only help loosen up the cake that kind of forms on the top of the bedding, but it'll also take care of and dispose of dead birds there. And it's interesting listening to the development of the artificial intelligence because the robot has to know what is a dead bird and what is just a stubborn bird. And it has to be programmed. It has to be programmed to know the difference.
Absolutely.
So there's a lot that goes into these, and it's very, very fascinating, very interesting to follow that development. Definitely.
You're watching the Sunrise Report live from the Nebraska Ag Expo. We are brought to you by the Nebraska Ag Expo and Prairie Manufacturing. You can see, folks, the exhibitors mostly beginning to come in into the show. They're filing in from behind us this morning, Chad. And one of our sponsors is Prairie Manufacturing. We had the chance to catch up with them and see 3 products they have on display at this year's Nebraska Ag Expo. Let's see that video segment now. We're going to visit now with our friends from Prairie Manufacturing. We've got 3 different products we want to show you here today. We're going to start with the Revolution Ditcher, and we want to learn about what's new. You've got the 2021 model on display. What updates did you make here?
Yes, Bryce, this is the 2021 model of the Revolution Ditcher. You can see that basically we've added a ladder for safety and shelves. We also included or improved our mount for our GPS mast. We've put weep holes in for the gate for smoother operation, and included some carriers and some holders for the hoses as well as the controls, and added some safety features also.
We're now going to learn more about the Prairie Air Wheel. Of course, this is going to save you bushels when it comes to harvest time. Tell us what you've got on display back here, and more importantly, what do you have available this year?
Right now, this year for availability, we have common John Deere, MacDon case kits. We do also have some Gehringhoff, Honeybee, and other lines available. Right now, that's the biggest thing what people are asking is availability, and we do have some, like I said, we do have some availability for year end, and then also we are fitting up some of the new heads that are being released to the market for Deere and MacDon.
And we'll round out our Prairie Video Spotlight here with a new product of sorts, a product line, and that is the Bearcat by Prairie. Tell us what you've got behind us as well as the product line as a whole.
Right. We offer chippers, chipper shredders, stump grinders. We offer them in engine-driven PTO for the tractor, skid steer mount. You can find us on bearcatproducts.com. You'll be able to find your local dealer there.
And as a whole, you can visit Prairie Manufacturing at the Nebraska Ag Expo. They're booth 4906 in Pavilion 4. Of course, you can also find them online at prairie.com. From Bryce to Bryce. How about that?
Yeah, that works.
Just teleporting around the show.
I was just wondering, yesterday apparently was a vest day. Today is not a vest day. What goes into the decision whether you should have a vest on or not?
Well, I have 2 vests, Chad, and so I can only wear 2 of them during the show. I decided today is not a vest day. Gotcha. Chad, I do want to say it's just nice that you're here. You have a tradition of ditching us during the Nebraska Ag Expo.
Hey, tradition? What is this?
I believe several years in a row. We've got one more day to get through, but last year you had good reason, right?
Yes, I did. It was the it was the Wednesday of the last Nebraska Ag Expo where my son was born, and so I did have to leave late in the night,
middle of the night,
literally the middle of the night to get back home and be with my wife as we brought our third child into the world. So, well, I didn't have a whole lot to do with it. I was just there for support.
I'd say happy birthday, but last year's show actually took place in February.
That's
so
right.
We're not quite there. We're messed up with our calendar. But that's going to do it for today's Sunrise Report. We certainly appreciate all of you joining us. You can see a lot of folks are starting to pile in. Doors will open just here in a few minutes at the Nebraska Ag Expo. Chad, remind folks where they can find the Nebraska Rural Radio Association booth here.
All right, you can find us in Pavilion 1. It's actually the transition zone here into the multi-purpose room, but it's booth 1052. That's where you'll find our correspondent Alex, Bryce, myself, and all of the rural radio folks that are here today.
And speaking of Alex and Chad, on behalf of those two, I'm Bryce Tuski, and we appreciate you joining us for this morning's Sunrise Report.
The Sunrise Report is brought to you by these Rural Radio Network partners. The Nebraska Ag Expo. Now in its 15th year, the Nebraska Ag Expo has grown to become the second largest indoor ag show in the United States. This pure ag show features the best that ag has to offer. From big iron to precision ag, there is truly something for everyone. And Crary Industries. Crary manufactures innovative, reliable agricultural equipment that maximizes customer efficiency and profitability. From their air reels to their water solutions, Crary has products to help your farming operations. Visit them at this year's Nebraska Ag Expo.